is Jenna and welcome to BOOKMAS Day 3. Today's topic is the top 6 2020 new releases I wish I had read this year. You guys know that I try really hard to read all of the books that I purchased in a year that came out that year. I don't always succeed, and by don't always I mean I never succeed. This year was no exception. So there are a bunch of books that are on my physical TBR. But before we get into all of that, if for whatever reason you do not know what BOOKMAS is, it is a series of videos that was created by HAILEY over on the channel HAILEY and BOOKLAND, which I will leave a link to in the description box below. Basically, it's just a fun way to wrap up the year and to celebrate Christmas. I really enjoy doing it. She is doing 31 videos this year, which is, you know, a lot. I am only doing 6, and today we are up to the top 6 videos. So, without further ado, let's get into the top 6 2020 new releases I wish I had read this year. So coming in at number 6, we have Rebel Gods by Kostakis. This is the sequel and finale to Monuments, which follows these 3 kids as they wake up some ancient deities, and then stuff happens and more things happen, and then stuff, because I'm so good at not spoiling things. This is the sequel, and so in this book they are having to deal with the consequences of everything that happened at the end of the first one, and trust me, there was a lot that happened at the end of the first book, so now they are having to deal with the outcomes of that, and I wish I had gotten to this. Funnily enough, I read 3 of Kostakis' books in 2020, but I didn't read this one, the one that actually came out this year, so I'm hoping that I can at the very least read it early 2021, and then I will pretty much only have 2 other books from his catalogue to read, and then I'll be done until he writes something new. Coming in at number 5, we have House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This is the first book in a new series. It is the first book in her adult fantasy series, which I must admit I've never read adult fantasy before, I think. That's a lie. I read The Witcher. That's totally adult fantasy. Okay, I'm a liar. But this one, it sounds really awesome. I'm a little bit hit or miss with Sarah J. Maas, so I really loved her Court of Thorns and Roses series, but I didn't love and haven't finished her Throne of Glass series, so not really sure where I'm going to sit with this one. I feel like I'm going to lean towards the I enjoy it, because this one is probably closer to a Court of Thorns and Roses rather than Throne of Glass, mainly just in the fact that the characters are older and it's a bit more darker. It's probably a bit of smut in here too, let's be real. Especially this book follows a girl named Bryce. She used to hit up Crescent City and just have the time of her life until a demon murdered her 2 best friends, because you know, that happens. So 2 years later, the supposed killer is behind bars, but crimes start popping up again all over the city, and Bryce is enlisted to investigate. The city assigns an enslaved fallen angel to assist her, and things just start getting spooky and dark and smutty, because it's the Sarah J. Maas book and that's what you do. I've heard many good things about this book. I've heard a few not so great things, mainly just that it's really long and not a lot happens from what I can tell, but I am really excited to finally get to dive into this one, and I'm pretty mad that I didn't get through it this year, but also it's real big and I struggled with big books this year. And then coming in at number 4, we have Spellhacker by M.K. England. This is from the author of The Disasters, and it is another standalone novel. This book is set in a world where magic, which is known as Maas, which used to be a freely available natural resource, however something has happened and now it is very much not freely available and incredibly expensive. So Diz and her 3 best friends run a incredibly illegal Maas siphoning gig where they siphon off Maas from the grid, I suppose, and end up selling it to people on the black market. But then their last job ever turns up a very potent, very dangerous strain of Maas and literally blows up in their faces. The group finds themselves trying to unravel a conspiracy at the very center of the spell plague and trying to save the world, because, you know, why not? I loved The Disasters. I thought it was such a fresh take, such an incredible book, and I'm really mad at myself for not having read Spellhacker. I have had a friend who has read it. She has said that the characters in this one are very unlikable, and so she's not really sure how I'm gonna go. But I loved The Disasters so much. I cannot believe I haven't read this one, and I'm really mad about it. Coming in at number 3, we have The Hand on the Wall by Maureen. This is the 3rd book in the Truly Devious series, and I haven't read it. Obviously, because it is on this list, but I read Truly Devious like 3 years ago or something. 3 years ago? Yes. I read Truly Devious like 3 years ago, and it was so fantastic. It is set at this boarding school where this girl Stevie attends. Many years ago, there was a murder or possibly a kidnapping. I actually can't remember at this particular boarding school. The culprit was never found, and the only clue they had was a mysterious note signed Truly Devious. Now Stevie is back at the boarding school and is trying to solve the mystery so many years later. It was such a good book. I freaking loved it. And then there was a sequel that came out, The Vanishing Stair, and then The Hand on the Wall, and I I just never continued on with the series, and I kind of hate myself for it. I literally got Emily onto Truly Devious, and then she's overtaken me and has read both The Vanishing Stair and The Hand on the Wall, and I'm just here like, what? This is one that I'm really mad I didn't get to in 2020. As I said, this is the third book, so I'm not going to tell you about it. But the fact that it's called The Hand on the Wall sort of gives me an indication that like this has to be a riddle in some description, because The Vanishing Stair was a riddle that popped up a lot in Truly Devious, and I'm really hoping we get an answer to that in the second book, because like I need to know. Coming in at number 2, we have another chonker of a book, and that is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I was so stupidly excited when I found out that Midnight Sun was coming out this year. Midnight Sun is Twilight, but from Edward's point of view, and apparently Edward had a lot of things to say, or rather he had a lot of things to overhear other people saying. I was so excited for this book, and then it came out and it was a chonker, and I went, yeah, no, it's not happening. So I have not read this one yet, and I'm pretty disappointed in myself, not gonna lie. Hello everybody, Jenna from the future. So after I filmed my top 6 2020 releases I wish I'd read this year video, I found out, I was on Instagram, I saw an Insta story from Penguin Teen, I found out that Stormbreak has actually been pushed back until the 9th of February 2021. I don't know how to feel about that, because obviously I was super excited for that book, so that has now been booted off this list, and instead we have, so Midnight Sun moves up to the top position and vice versa, so now we have a new book at number 6, and that book is Taking Down Evelyn Tait by Poppy Nwosu. This is a standalone novel but is set in the same universe as her Making Friends with Alice Dyson book. Follows a girl named Lottie whose best friend starts dating Evelyn Tait, and she sort of makes this pact to take her down. Sounds really awesome. Poppy is a person that I know from my book club. She's an incredible person, incredible writer. I really do wish I had a chance to get to read this one this year. Unfortunately, I just didn't, and I'm really hoping to get to read it instead in 2021. And there you go, those are my top 6 2020 new releases that I absolutely wish I had read this year. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what 2020 new release you wish you had read this year and why you didn't get to it, because I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.